All right, let's dive in. We're taking a look at those weekend getaway horror stories you sent over from that Mr. Nightmare YouTube video. You know, the kind that kind of makes you think twice about leaving the house.
Mm.
And you mentioned being into all things strange and unusual, so I think these are going to be right up your alley.
Yeah, you know what's really unsettling about these is that they play on those little travel hiccups we've all experienced at some point.
Yeah.
Those moments when things just feel off.
Right, like when your spidey sense is tingling, but you can't quite put your finger on why. Okay, so the first story takes us to a secluded island in Maine. A middle schooler, on vacation with friends, already feeling a little out of place. And get this, he describes this dreamy, almost detached from reality feeling about the whole island and the house they're staying in.
Oh yeah, that sense of isolation. Classic horror trope, right? It's like instantly you feel vulnerable. The characters and the audience too are cut off from everything familiar.
Totally. And things start getting weird right away. First, the narrator's hat goes missing. Then, poof, his prized pen vanishes. And this kid's a serious pen collector, so we're not talking about some random Bic. But it gets even weirder. He finds some of his missing stuff in his friend's bag.
Okay, wait. What kind of stuff are we talking about?
Not just any stuff, underwear.
Oh, see, now that's crossing a line. It goes from like a silly prank to something way more creepy.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of someone messing with your personal space, like they're watching you.
Definitely gives you the chills. And it gets worse, way
Yeah.
worse. The narrator stumbles upon his friend's notebook, and let's just say it wasn't filled with vacation doodles.
Oh, no. What was it?
Full of these grotesque drawings, depictions of torture, and they were all focused on him, the narrator.
Oh, wow. That reminds me of the whole mask of sanity thing in psychology. Like how someone can seem totally normal on the outside, but have these really dark thoughts underneath. It makes you wonder who you can really trust, right?
Hmm.
We all think we can spot danger, but maybe that's not always so easy.
It's scary to think about. Like, you never really know what's going on in someone else's head. And the kicker, the last page of the notebook had a message. I'll do it tomorrow. Talk about a cliffhanger. The narrator freaks out, obviously, tells the friend's dad, and they get off that island as fast as they can.
I bet. So that's it. End of story.
Not quite. Years later, the narrator gets this anonymous letter, and guess what's inside?
No way. The pen.
The pen.
Wow. It's like something out of a psychological thriller. That feeling that you can never really escape your past.
Right. Makes you think, what does it mean? Is it a threat? Or is it all just in his head?
That's the really unsettling part. We don't know. It's like the story never really ends.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder about the things that just don't have a clear explanation.
Absolutely. Speaking of unexplained events, our next story takes a different approach to weekend getaway horror. This one's about a big family with a pretty unique tradition. They do this winner-takes-all laser tag game in the Vermont woods,
Yeah.
in the snow.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, and a little dangerous, maybe. Well, yeah. I mean, think about it. The isolation, the darkness, the adrenaline pumping. You could see how things could get out of hand pretty easily.
Oh, it definitely takes a dark turn.
Right.
So picture this. The narrator is finally old enough to play in this annual laser tag battle. He's deep in the woods, totally focused on taking down his opponents. Suddenly, bam, he's tagged. But not by anyone he recognizes.
Oh, wow. So it was like someone was hiding out there, waiting for him.
Turns out he'd been stalked. And then the chase is on. Multiple strangers are after him in the woods.
That's terrifying, like a real-life horror movie.
Right. It's like someone took a fun game and twisted it into something sinister. And this wasn't just a casual jog through the woods. This was a full-on sprint for survival.
Had to be adrenaline just pumping through his veins.
I can't even imagine. Luckily, his uncle manages to scare off these pursuers with a warning shot, but you can bet that experience stuck with him.
I'm sure it did. It's interesting. It's almost like a home invasion story, but instead of a house, it's this family tradition that's violated.
That's a good point. It's like they went out there expecting this fun, competitive thing, and instead they got this terrifying intrusion into their world. And to make matters worse, the police can't find any trace of the attackers.
Yeah.
No motives, no nothing. It's like they just vanished.
Ugh, I hate when that happens in these stories. Like you want some kind of closure, some explanation,
Yeah.
but it just leaves you with that uneasy feeling that something's not right.
Exactly. And just when you think it can't get any creepier, there's this one final detail. The next morning, a snowman appears, holding the laser gun that had been lost in the chaos.
Oh no, like as a message.
It gets weirder. The narrator's uncle, usually the calm, level-headed leader of the family, completely flips out, starts shooting at the snowman and screaming threats into the woods.
I mean, that's totally understandable. After something like that, who wouldn't be a little on edge? It's like that snowman is a reminder that someone was watching them, toying with them.
It's just so unsettling. It makes you think that the real horror isn't even the chase itself, but the psychological impact. The way it messed with their sense of safety and trust. Okay, ready for our final descent into weekend getaway chaos.
Hit me with it. Let's see what this Airbnb nightmare is all about.
All right, this last story. It's about a group of college seniors looking for the perfect spring break escape. You know, the kind where you just want to relax and forget about exams for a while. They find this incredible Airbnb in Lake County, California. Hot tub, fireplace, perfect for stargazing. What could go wrong, right?
Famous last words.
Yeah.
It sounds idyllic, sure. But we've seen how these things go. That isolation, the thing that makes it so appealing, can also make you really vulnerable.
And that's exactly what happens. So the first night is all good vibes. Music, hot tub, the whole bit. But then, the next night, they're in the hot tub just chilling when all of a sudden, bam! This crazy bright flash of light fills the whole room.
Oh, wow. Like what, a power surge or something?
They thought it might be lightning, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Okay, now that's creepy. It's like one of those unexplained phenomena you hear about,
Yeah.
like a UFO or something.
Right, it's like something out of the X-Files.
Uh,
And then it gets weirder. They start hearing these clicking and whistling sounds coming from the woods around the house.
oh, I hate that. That feeling that something's out there watching you.
I think it's even more intense. Someone starts banging on the front door. Hard.
Okay, so not just some animal bumping around.
No, definitely not. The girls are freaking out. So the narrator, he grabs a knife and tries to sound tough, like he has a gun. The banging stops for a minute, and then smash! A rock comes flying through the living room window.
Oh, jeez. That's taking things to a whole other level.
And there's a note attached to the rock. It says, "Go away, you shouldn't be here."
Chilling. Just chilling.
Right. They call the police, but by the time they get there, no sign of anyone. Of course.
So no answers. Typical.
And to make things even more suspicious, the Airbnb host gives them a full refund but refuses to talk about what happened.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely shady. Makes you wonder if they know something they're not saying.
So we've got a middle schooler haunted by a creepy notebook, a family laser tag game that turns into a terrifying chase, and a spring break trip ruined by menacing messages and a smashed window. It's like the unexpected just keeps popping up when you least expect it.
It's true. It's like no matter how much you plan, how many reviews you read, there's always that element of the unknown when you travel. You just never really know what you're going to get.
And it really makes you think, right? About trusting your gut, being aware of your surroundings. Because sometimes the most beautiful, peaceful places can hide some pretty dark secrets. So yeah, maybe think twice before you book that secluded cabin in the woods. Or at least, make sure you have an escape route.
Words to live by.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into weekend getaway horror. Let us know if you have any creepy travel stories of your own. And until next time, stay curious, but stay safe out there.